5 new potatoes, incense and myrrh. Gudbrand, a pleasant farmer from Ringebu in Gudbrandsdalen, out with the tractor on Saturday morning. Now it was necessary to harrow up the field on the south side after the last few days of potato harvesting. The whole family gathered in the field: wife, 3 teenage children, cat, dog and a couple of good neighbors. Gudbrand and his wife Else had planned a big dinner in the afternoon: moose roast with venison sauce, broccoli and new potatoes. This had become a regular tradition in late summer every year. A pleasant tradition in good company and lots of good things to drink. There was quite a bit of excitement surrounding this year's new potato dinner. Johannes from Vestgardslia had announced his new wife, or farm girl as it was called. She came from Tunsberg and was called Emily. Everyone was excited about this woman, supposedly very intelligent it was said, and belonging to the religious sect Smith's Friends. Johannes had met her on the internet, and was able to reassure her that the religious thing wasn't that important. Emily wanted to work on the farm, use her body for practical tasks, roll up her sleeves and take care of the livestock. All of this promised well. She had come to the right place. Emily was warmly welcomed and immediately accepted by the Gudbrand Rudd family. She slipped right into the community, clearly good at small talk about everyday matters, but at the same time listening and interested. They realized that she was smart the way she phrased herself, bringing up exciting little anecdotes from life in Vestfold. The teenagers took a liking to her. She seemed worldly and had a lot of humor in her bag. Emily quickly became a popular figure in the cramped village between the large mountain ranges not far from Jotunheimen and Dovrefjell. Johannes had clearly made a formidable coup and spent a lot of time indoors with his Emily this autumn. It didn't take long before most of the village could see the bullet in their stomachs and calculated that in early summer next year a little noble boy or girl would arrive at Vestgardslia. The proud traditions would be maintained on the farm unless the offspring eventually renounced the nobility and ran away to the big city. That was the great fear for the villagers. This flight to urban areas, the cafe life, exciting student environments and prospects for a secure job in public administration. But it was several years before any such setbacks could happen. In the meantime, he received a visit from Johannes and Emily from Vestfold, members of the Smith's Venner sect who were curious about how Emil was doing on the new farm, and they came to bless the new child in his mother's womb. If they didn't bring incense and myrrh like the 3 wise men did when Jesus was born. There were still some nice gifts and some directly from the congregation with inscriptions about God's faithfulness and the only way of life. For Emil, this was very pleasant, but still quite tiring. She had tried to break free from the sect a few years ago, but with ugly consequences, i.e., close-up pressure about sin and the devil's cunning attacks and all the misery that existed out there in the world. She had returned to the fold and the threats of doom had toned down. In the meantime, Emily had used the time to investigate some serious dating sites. Deep down, she was on her way out of the sect. She had started to ask questions, but she kept them to herself. Showing openness and talking to the elders about this could have unpleasant consequences. The best thing to do was to be obedient and do as she was told. After a while, Emily had met Johannes from Ringebu online and gradually started chatting a little cautiously. She always sat with her heart in her throat in fear of being discovered, but still saw a possible opening to something new and better. She had noticed that the congregation had an iron grip on her, and she intuitively understood that this was wrong. And Johannes was exactly the kind of man she could imagine. Down to earth, gentle, strong guy with a sense of nature and outdoor life, and in addition he ran a great farm with livestock in all the barns and outbuildings. She forged a stronger bond with this handsome guy day by day. One beautiful sunny day she sat on the train to Oslo. Johannes had dressed up and sat on the train south, both in a limbo of expectations and pure excitement. A little clammy in the hands and some visible sweat marks under the arms were unavoidable. But the sun warmed both inside and outside the compartment, and soon the disembarkation was Oslo Central Station. Christians have never proven that their God exists. Muslims have never proven that Allah exists. Hindus have never proven that Shiva, Vishnu and Brahma exist. Buddhists have never proven reincarnation. Mormons have never produced Joseph Smith's gold plates. Scientologists have never shown us a body the tan. Atheism is simply a rational refusal to accept stories of the incredible, the fantastic, and the supernatural. Why this wild message just before disembarking? Where did this come from? Emily and Johannes had both heard the voice, a voice not from the loudspeakers on the platform, but from a